Another local story, very disturbing story, that we're going to provide an update on. A former nurse at a local elementary school in Arlington Heights, she's accused of mismanaging and swapping the prescriptions for prescription drugs of students. She since received a felony conviction in that case. Tony E. Eitz received a 13-count criminal sentence that includes at least 90 days that they will serve in the Cook County Jail. We're going to be speaking a little bit more about this with Mike Cerasa, who is representing some of the families in this case. Thanks so much for being here.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Doing well. So first, how did this case get on you guys' radar?
Well, we were originally contacted by one of the families affected, and after speaking with them, we ended up reaching out through them to some of the other families involved, ultimately ending up with 9 separate families in the Arlington Heights School District whose children were affected by the actions of this nurse.
So this nurse was convicted of swapping medications. What exactly does that look like?
So Tori Eitz, over a period of more than a year, was routinely swapping out prescription medication that was supposed to be dispensed to her students at Westgate Elementary School in Arlington Heights. On some occasions, she was replacing medication that she was taking with aspirin or other substitute medication. In some cases, she was texting parents and telling them that she had either lost or misplaced or dropped medication on the floor and needed replacements dropped off, and would try to meet parents in the parking lot to get replacement medication, which was then not dispensed to the students at any point.
Did we learn exactly what Tori was actually doing with these medications?
That it was not immediately clear. We believe that it was for her own personal use, that she was using it for her own purposes, but that was not part of our civil investigation into the side of what happened in this case.
On the other side of this, obviously, District 25, what's been their reaction to all of this?
So far, the district's main response has been to deflect and place all the blame on Nurse Eitz herself. We know that before this was reported to the police, that members of the administration at Westgate Elementary, as well as the superintendent, were made aware of concerns from parents and from other staff members about Nurse Eitz's conduct. And at no point did anyone from Arlington Heights School District report it to the Department of Children and Families for investigation, as is their required reporting under the law. And so far, they have tried to couch this as just a rogue nurse doing things on her own, when we know that there were school administration officials that were aware and did nothing to stop it.
What do you think is next for those school administrators who you say were aware of this and didn't really do anything with that information? Do you see future litigation coming in terms of that?
Well, back in April, we did file a lawsuit here in Cook County against Tori Eitz, as well as the school district, Ann Buck, who was the principal of Westgate Elementary, and the superintendent of schools in Arlington Heights. So that litigation is ongoing, and we expect through discovery to learn a lot more about what people within the school district knew and did not know.
And you said that you represent, I believe, the 9 families that were on the unfortunate side of this, where their kids' medications have been swapped out unknowingly to them. What's been their response since this verdict was handed down?
I think the families have now some degree of closure now that they know that Tori Eitz is going to face a felony conviction, that she will serve time in jail. I think overall the tenor of the families is one that they are satisfied that the state has made sure that Tori Eitz will be held accountable for these, just terrible actions against people who were in her care and she was supposed to take care of. I do think that there is still a general level of frustration and anger at the school district as well, and we expect to continue the case against those parties as well and hopefully hold them account for their role in this as well.
What are you hearing from the families in terms of their trust or lack thereof in the Arlington Heights School District there?
It's been very traumatic for these families. These are people who entrusted their young elementary-aged children to the school system. And, a school nurse is someone who has a unique degree of trust, especially with younger students. And it is not something that any parent expects to have that trust breached by a school nurse. This is someone who is generally regarded as a safe person within the school system, someone who's there to take care of your child when they need special needs, whether it's for medication or an injury that happens at school. And to have that trust breached by someone in that position has been very traumatic for all of them.
And it's traumatic for those families, also traumatic for those kids. If you can share any details on some of those tough conversations that these parents have had to have with their kids about this.
It's very difficult. One of the things that you're dealing with is these are all kids who were needing to take prescription medication to help them with a variety of conditions to help them be their best during the school day. And when medication, such as the ones that were swapped out, is missed, it can cause dysregulation in kids and cause them to not be at their best during the school day. So you have a number of students who got into trouble because they weren't on their medication or weren't able to do their best academic work. And we may not know the full extent of how much this has set these kids back for some time, but we do know that they're at a tender age where, socially, emotionally, and academically, everything is heightened and it's very important for their development. So any disruption to that is unnecessary can cause really grievous harm to all of them.
Mike, what's next for this case?
Well, I think now the litigation in the civil side is really just moving forward and getting started. It's very important that we have the criminal part of this behind us and that we know that Torreyites will be held accountable criminally. But really the civil case is just getting started, and we expect to learn a lot more over the coming months as we find out more about what the district knew.
All right, Mike Cerasa, thanks so much for your time speaking with the attorney who is representing families whose kids had their prescription drugs at Arlington Heights School that was subbed out by a nurse there who has since been sentenced to 90 days in the Cook County Jail. Thanks again for your time.